Presented by your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Go local. Go with a home team.
Well, we'll go to Tuscaloosa here in about 5 or 6 minutes, and we'll welcome in Roll Tide Ryan Fowler. 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa. A little bit different deal in T-Town. Ryan Fowler can interview coaches. You know, Coach Nick Saban had a policy that none of the assistants could be interviewed. And now, all of a sudden, I'm looking at Ryan Fowler's feed, and he's had Kalen DeBoer on, who is the new head football coach for the University of Alabama. Best hire in the offseason. Probably needed to do that to follow someone like Nick Saban. But I still hear there's a lot of chatter out there that Alabama's going to take a step back. Now, that can be misconstrued, and everybody's idea of taking a step back is, you know, is he going to win 3 titles in 4 years? No. The landscape had already changed prior to Coach Saban stepping down, who is the GOAT. But will he win a national championship there? Oh, the odds are yes. He's legit. This is not some of the other coaches that we have witnessed follow a legend. And I think he's big time. I think he's the guy for the job. And I think he makes them much, 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 much better at on offense and at the quarterback position, which is not good for some of the other teams in the league that we're talking about, like Georgia. And I still think A&M is one of the sleepers, and I think LSU's coming back. And you may have another team, you know. I'm kind of in that, kind of like with Mississippi State and Ole Miss baseball. I'm in that show me state with Texas. I am impressed with what they're doing, but coming over to our league and, you know, how deep and talented and physical our league is compared to what they've been playing in is night and day. But Ryan Fowler will join us in a few minutes. We are the Out of Bounds Show. Your SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your car and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Hit favorites.com and bundle, save, hit favorites.com. F-A-V-E. I bet it sounds good to save some money. Maybe start next month with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Go local, go with the home team, as Jake Mangum likes to tell us. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. I want to thank you for going to Spotify or Apple Podcast and searching Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. And that is Spotify or Apple Podcast, searching Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. We've got tons of interviews, good content on there. We would love for you to hit the subscribe button. I tell you something that surprised me over the weekend. I was reading an article on the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference, and they were talking about how fans consume sports, how you consume sports on your phone, streaming. Some of you are still plugged into cable. We're all realizing that streaming is going to be, I think, as expensive as cable eventually. There was this thought process several years ago that it was going to be some kind of cheat code. But it was interesting as I was reading through the article and all the changes that are happening. I saw a shocking statistic when it comes to fans consuming sports. And it was thrown out that 40% of Generation Z has not yet been to a live sporting event.
What?
40% of Generation Z has not yet been to a live sporting event. And it went on to say this is something that leagues and teams and media networks need to be thinking about as they plan for the future. You know, to me, that's a problem. That's a giant problem for a multitude of reasons. Young people need to experience live sporting events. High school, college, pro. I wonder how much COVID disrupted the East and West Coast that went overboard and freaked out about it, among other areas. But still, that's still a pretty wide gap for 11 years old to 26 years old. Does that surprise you? 40% of Generation Z. That's crazy. That stat really jumped out at me. I'm going to ask our next guest about it. Roll Tide Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. This is ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We are the Out of Bounds Show. Want to say good morning. Welcome in. Ryan Fowler, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. 8 hours away from the Kalen DeBoer era starting in Tuscaloosa. Practice number 1, 3:30 this afternoon.
Will you be there?
Not today. I've got a show to do, but I will be there on Wednesday. As long as it does not rain. Alabama baseball airs at 4 o'clock. They're playing a little early game. So I planned that out. I put that out there. That's first practice. Talked with Kalen. Said, listen, Alabama baseball's here. Can you make the first viewing here? Yep, perfect. So, yeah, I'll be able to go out to practice. And, we're going to live life like the real world. I know you guys have coaches that have access to you out there. We haven't done that, in 17 years. So it's a little unfamiliar with, talking to coaches.
Yeah, what's that been like? So for our listeners, Ryan's never been able to interview coaches for the most part. You told me you got Nick Saban kind of on like literally a whim, almost fooled the SID or something at an SEC Media Days. Isn't that right? A few years ago?
Well,
right?
No, I know I had a scheduled interview, but I got a liner.
You got a liner. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, this is Nick Saban, and you're listening to The Game with Ryan Fowler on Tide 100.9. That's a story that I'll have to tell another day, but that is I got chewed out for that one, but that's okay. That's okay. We're the flagship home of Alabama football. I figured we needed a liner, and I figured there was no better way to cut one than to ask Nick Saban during an interview, and he did it, but then he got up and he goes, "Who is this blankety blank?" I mean, it was so funny. It was like he had endorsed me for free. I guess that's what he was thinking. But anyway, I got called a couple of names. But hey, that's a badge of honor.
Dude, when an SID gets their boxers and a little bit of it is kind of entertaining, but you also kind of have to, hat in hand a little bit because they can get a little sandboxy and a little fiery, can't they?
Think about this. Okay, Josh Maxson, Jeff Pearson before Josh Maxson. Could you work with Nick Saban every single minute, every single day, every media availability?
No.
The way that no, I couldn't do it. There's no way. I would literally, I don't know. I mean, I have had a mental breakdown or something. But no, this era is going to be. I mean, it's going to be much, much different. Kalen DeBoer. We had a big meeting with him last week to kind of set some things up, and it was an off-record meeting, so I can't really discuss anything we talked about. But it was, we haven't had those. I mean, that's something. Coach Fran did it prior to Nick Saban. I think Mike Shula may have done it once or twice. But it was, it's refreshing to have that type of access. I featured last week the first time an assistant coach has been talked to the media in 17 years. As far as now, you can do it at bowl practice because Nick Saban did control that, right? So we'd always do them at bowl practice.
College football playoffs, bowl practice, right?
I literally had a co-offensive coordinator on my show last Tuesday at 4:30.
Good for you.
Yeah. So.
And you've already had DeBoer on, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he came on live, talked 21 minutes.
21 minutes with Kalen DeBoer, new Alabama football coach. Give me something. Was there anything that really was a wow? Was there the 32-ounce ribeye of the interview? Was there some sizzle?
Yeah, just his personality. I mean, just the way that it's going to be. I'm not saying that there's two different ways to skin a cat, as the old phrase used to say, but when you look at Kalen DeBoer, it's just going to be different. I mean, it's going to be this attitude. I saw him at the basketball game on Saturday. Alabama, by the way, lost to Tennessee. He came up, started talking to me. I mean, literally the question was, "Hey, when are you going to get my offensive and defensive coordinator on your show?" He walked up to me and asked me, actually thanked me for the interview. He said, "Hey, I enjoyed coming on your show the other day. Look forward to doing it again very soon. I was like, I mean, it was almost because like 17 years we've been conditioned not to have a relationship with a head coach, not to be, conditioned, because Coach Saban didn't do the small talk. I mean, he got up on that stage and he got out.
Right.
Every now and then he would smile as he would walk off the stage. It was just, it's going to be different as far as just the access. Players, you can interview the strength conditioning coach. Like Wednesday, I think it's defensive day. Every defensive assistant coach will be made available to the media. So you can go into the indoor practice facility.
Wow.
I mean, you told me a couple of years ago you hit the media lottery. I feel the same way in Tuscaloosa just because of the amount of information.
See, we can't – Lane won't do he may have done something in Oxford, but he doesn't do shows in Mississippi. I would say local, but we've done millions of downloads outside the state, millions of streams over the years. So does that mean we're national? Anyway, the point is he doesn't do that, but it's great to have him in the state. But yes, Leach, as you said, we hit the media and Coach Prime having all three of them at one time was crazy. Let me ask you this. So was the one place that Saban would kind of let his hair down and engage, from what I gathered, Ryan Fowler, was his coach's show on whatever night that was, Thursday night?
Yeah, Thursday night at 7 o'clock. You got more out of that hour because you got to remember also Nick Saban's in front of his family. So he's not going to be your typical mean Nick Saban.
Oh, they would go most of the time?
Yeah. Yeah, they're right there on the front table.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I think it was – they did a lot of Nick's Kids Foundation, so you could bid on a couple of seats with the Nick Saban family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, they're building house number 21 here in Tuscaloosa. So, so you would give a donation and, they would charity auction a couple of seats off for the Nick Saban family. You'd be right there up front. So that was always something they did. But, yeah, that Nick Saban show with Eli Gold and a media guest, was always fun and a lot of information. I mean, that was – if you sit there and listen, you could pick up on how the team practiced. I mean, just the overall feel going into the game.
Wow. Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa afternoon drive. This man does anywhere between 7 and 12 hours a day of sports talk radio and doesn't think twice about it. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. All right. So Kalen DeBoer.
I'm disappointed in Lane Kiffin, though.
Talk to me.
I'm calling him.
Now, Ole Miss fans are talking national championship over here, that they're leapfrogging your program and Kirby's. What do you have to say about that?
Ooh, that's what I saw. Vegas believes in that too. I mean, Vegas. No, but Lane Kiffin should do. Because I've asked, Kyle up there, which is an Alabama guy, by the way. Did he go to Alabama? I think.
I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah, I think the Ole Miss SID went to Alabama, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But anyway, so I've asked Kyle 3 or 4 times because I used to feature Lane once every 3 or 4 months when he was at FAU. Matter of fact, I got in trouble in Tuscaloosa for featuring Lane Kiffin so much.
Really?
Got drug into the football office, man.
Oh, man. Like elementary school principal stuff?
Yeah, had to write sentences.
We had to go to the black bench when I was in elementary school at JA.
Yeah, I had to write sentences, 200 of those. I will not feature Lane Kiffin in Tuscaloosa anymore. I will not feature Lane Kiffin in Tuscaloosa anymore. I guess it was a little.
Did you have to write it in cursive?
Can't remember. I think it was just print. Did the double pencil thing, the double pencil where you could hold it. You ever do that?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, I mean, Lane, you should do Bo Bounds' show. You should do Bo Bounds. I mean, that's. Well, what? And I know what it is. Kirby does the same thing over in Georgia. They're all from the Nick Saban school, and you know what? That's changed. You want to be old school? Go be old school. But you're hurting your own program. You're hurting the disconnect of your fans. We are the conduit to deliver the message from the football program to the fans. They need fans more than they've ever needed fans. With its collectives and NIL, the fan has more importance now than they did 5 years ago.
You may be on to something. Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa. Now he's already had Kalen DeBoer on the show, and he's getting assistants left and right. And DeBoer actually wants him to have assistant coaches on the show, and walked up to him at a basketball game the other night and told him that. I think that's so cool. Now, let me ask you this as far as quarterback play for your Alabama Crimson Tide. And for our listeners, Alabama's first big game is Georgia, September 28th. Dang, y'all take a week off before y'all play 3 games and then get a bye week. So does Georgia.
Yeah, Wisconsin's on the road, though.
Oh, stop it. All right, so let's who's going to be the quarter? Look, DeBoer is going to make whoever, whether it's Milroe or one of these other hot shots. DeBoer and the way they coach and develop the QB position, he's going to make whoever is your QB better. Not that Tommy Rees isn't a solid coach, but DeBoer is big time on the offensive side of the football. So who do you think it's going to be, but do you actually think it's going to be a competition for QB1 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama?
I've thought about this so much. Is there really a competition? I think there is. I think when you look at this competition, okay, and I've heard some great things about Austin Mack behind the scenes. Big kid, got a big arm, can spin it. This kid was a high school senior last year, came in, reclassified early from 2024 to 2023, and he played. He was the backup. And I was told that they felt very confident if Michael Penix, went down with some type of injury, that he could have ran that offense out there. So to me, that would give him, from the verbiage, the terminology, a step up, right? He's already been in the system. He's learned that system. So he spent, spring and I don't know if the spring, but I know he spent the fall camp and learning that offense. I was told that he picked up on it very, very quick. So Austin Mack's a guy to keep an eye on. Dylan Lonergan, Ty Simpson, certainly Jalen Milroe was a Heisman, got some Heisman votes last year, could be a Heisman finalist if it all clicks with him, okay? And now he's a grad student, so he could spend more time learning that terminology, defense, reading that defense. But to me, it's more about those fundamentals, because when I watch the Kalen DeBoer offense, they do take a lot of shots, but they also do a lot of timing routes, short, intermediate throws. You've got to be able to throw the football. If you look back at Jalen Milroe, he hesitated a lot. He held the football a long time. A lot of those sacks, Alabama was 129th in the country in protecting the quarterback. I think Washington was in the top 3 or 4. I think they only gave up 12 sacks. Alabama gave up 49 sacks. So a lot of that was on that offensive line, but a lot of those were on Jalen
Milroe holding the ball. Yeah.
Holding the ball.
Ryan Fowler, Steve Palazzolo of Pro Football Focus brought up a great point within the last year. And they run some really cool numbers. They're not always accurate, but they do really well. And no one is, obviously. And
I love their work.
I do too. And he said that the majority of the time the sack's on the QB. And when you run the numbers, and that just really, really jumped out at me. So that's interesting that you bring that up, Ryan. Whether it's going to be Milroe, the Washington transfer, some of your hot shots, I can't believe Ty Simpson's still there, but think
about that. Okay, all right. So look at Ty Simpson. Now I know his dad's a coach at UT Martin. Jason Simpson's been up there forever. Okay, so he's a head coach and understands
Mississippi State alum.
Yeah, so he understands what it takes to play at a certain level. Something he was sold on to go through spring, right? Something was sold on. And then Austin Mack comes all the way across the country to here. So you kind of thinking that Dylan Lonergan's a name that, to watch. This guy can spin it too.
Say his last name again.
His name is Dylan Lonergan.
I love that name.
Yeah. So watch him. He's out of a big high school over in Atlanta, and was a guy that grabbed a lot of attention back in fall camp, but Nick Saban wasn't going to start a true freshman unless it was just a have to. Keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him, because he's a guy that can spin it. We'll see some video coming out today and on Wednesday, and from an eye test, he's probably going to be the guy that grabs your attention on the eye test, because it's a different ball. I haven't seen Austin Mack, but I hear it's a spinner too. So I'm not saying that Jalen Milroe is going to lose his job. I'm just saying that they're going to push him. There is competition at that position. I have to feel that way until he totally grasps this offense. Because Tommy Rees didn't ask him to do a lot. And there was times that he struggled with that complexity of that offense. Fair? Is that a fair comment? I mean, I think it is. They didn't ask him to do a ton. In the Kalen DeBoer system, you're going to have to do a ton. You're going to pre-snap. I mean, they're doing all kind of stuff. If you look at everything moving, that was not his strength last year. Will it be a strength in 2024? To be determined.
Yeah, Penix was phenomenal in that offense.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so is it still weird to not have Nick Saban as the head coach that you're covering, because you were on the whole time that he was the head coach, Ron?
It is. I saw him at the basketball game the other night. Matter of fact, Kalen DeBoer was in his seats, and Miss Terry and Coach Saban sit on the second row. They went from the first row to the second row, and I noticed Jalen Milroe, Greg Byrne, and Kalen DeBoer up front, Nick and Terry Saban, Justin Thomas behind there. And so, yeah, it is a little weird. I mean, I greeted Nick Saban. I didn't speak with him. I just, he kind of gave me just a wave. So, and so I'm up to 11 words with Nick Saban, 17 years.
Y'all could actually have a cup of coffee at some point. I mean, this could
11 words. I mean, think about that. 11 words in 17 years. I doubled those back in the fall. I mean, I was sitting beside a wall, and he came out of a room, and he reached his hand out and said, "How you doing today, buddy?" And I went, "Is there somebody behind me? I mean, is there?" And then all of a sudden, there's a 5-star recruit following him. And I said, it wasn't nothing about me. It was about a 5-star recruit, right? He was trying to show that he was friendly. And then, he reached his hand out. I was like, whoa, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I doubled my words back in November. So I'm up to 11 words in 17 years.
Is this a national championship type team?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, if Les Miles can ride it in 3 years and win a national title, yeah, I think Kalen DeBoer should be able to take the foundation that Nick Saban has built. And what will you guys do? What will the SEC fans do? Because I know you guys celebrated back on January the 10th, and y'all threw a party, and the Auburn idiots over there throwing toilet paper in the trees. Baton Rouge down there burning down the city or whatever they're doing, flipping over cars, mattresses, recliners. I don't know what you guys did over Mississippi State. I know. I saw that celebration, and I took names. I took receipts. I got them right here. I don't know what you guys going to do if Kalen DeBoer comes out, wins championship number 1. What if he runs through the SEC, wins a national title? What you guys going to do?
I don't know, but he can go 10-2 and get in the playoff and still win it. Hey, love you. Thanks for jumping on. We'll do it again soon. You know how much I love spring practice. Hate I'm not going to be there today to watch some spring ball at 3:30 in Tuscaloosa. But Kalen DeBoer forever. See you, Ryan Fowler.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, baby. Ryan Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. I think they're going to be a lot better. I mean, significantly better on offense. And the way the game is played today, I'm not sure that's good. State and Ole Miss don't play them. It feels weird, doesn't it? We're live in the BankPlus Studio. Good morning. Welcome in on a Monday.